Here we go, Las Vegas. Today is Monday, November 29th, 2021, and this is Nighttime at Noon, coming to you from City National Arena in downtown Summerlin, Nevada. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan D'Uva alongside Deryk Engelland. We'll talk Golden Knights hockey, NHL for the next hour, roughly. Deryk, good afternoon. How's it going?
Going great. How about yourself?
I'm great. Well, we first would like to tell you that Adam Brooks is going to join us. We expect to have Adam as the Golden Knights wrap up practice just on the other side of the window there. The Golden Knights practice started at 11:15 today, and I was excited to see some 3-on-3. We'll talk about that in just a moment. We'll have Adam Brooks scored his very first Golden Knights goal in Nashville on Wednesday. First game-winning goal of his NHL career. Former Leaf, former Canadian. Canadians made some news in the last few days. And we're going to get ready for the Knights' quick 2-game road trip, Anaheim and Arizona, before they come back home. But Deryk, let's first things first here. How was your Thanksgiving? Were you here? Were you on the road? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was great. We went back to Milwaukee to see Melissa's family for 5 days, and then we drove down to Chicago to see the Flurries and their family, get the kids together again, and I went to watch one of the games there, and just hung out for a little bit.
That sounds like fun. How was the travel? That's what everybody wants to know when you travel for Thanksgiving.
It was good. We left early. We left last Sunday, so I think we beat the rush there. It wasn't too bad, and then flew back last night out of Midway, and it was actually a lot smoother than I thought it was going to be.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What was on the dinner table?
Oh, Thanksgiving turkey, stuffing, a couple different kinds of sweet potato, potato cheese casserole.
Oh, wow.
Some pies. We had some apple pie, pumpkin pie.
What's the pie of choice? If I'm Deryk Engelland and I'm having only one slice of pie, what kind of pie is it?
Thanksgiving definitely has got to be apple crisp type pie.
Yes.
With a little vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, you
whipped
got to
cream on top.
That's the
you
way
gotta,
to do it.
You gotta
I mean,
go all out.
I know you're Canadian, but that's the American way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, we had it too just a month earlier.
That's what I'm saying. I asked Pete DeBoer about this on the pregame show the other day as the Knights played the Edmonton Oilers and lost a close game. Tried to come back. We'll talk about that game in just a moment. But I asked Pete, so what's the deal if you're Canadian and you're working and living in the United States? Like, how does that work? Well, you get 2 Thanksgivings, right?
Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't want 2 Thanksgiving meals? It's awesome, and then when you're part of the team, usually someone throws the Canadian one at home, the Canadian guys, and then American Thanksgiving, everyone's celebrating down here, so you do it too. So, and then Christmas around the corner, it's like 3 months in a row you get to turkey or whatever you do for those
That's right.
holidays.
'Tis the season, and also Hanukkah started yesterday, so happy Hanukkah as well. Advent beginning, that means Christmas is on the horizon, so we're in the holiday spirit here. We had, of course, Gold Friday, all the Golden Knights merchandise deals. Did you see the line? Golden Knights tweeted that kind of time-lapse video of the line outside the Arsenal here at City National Arena. Fantastic. So check out VegasTeamStore.com. There could be some more deals online. Cyber Monday, after all. VegasTeamStore.com. Just check it out. So that's Thanksgiving. The Knights go into the Thanksgiving break with a victory in Nashville. And with that win, they were 4th in the division, had one of the wild card spots. They've kind of been jockeying with the Anaheim Ducks for 3rd in the division. But as we have heard many times through the years, Deryk, Thanksgiving is sort of a dividing line where if you're in a playoff spot at American Thanksgiving, more than likely you're probably going to be in the playoffs. If you're not, chances are you're not going to be in the playoffs. Now, of course, there are exceptions to that rule. There's that 3rd point, right? Because you've got 3 points for overtime decisions. That makes it hard to make up ground. So what do you think about that? I wonder if a player has that in mind, like, hey, we got to make sure we've got our act together in a playoff spot by Thanksgiving, or does nobody really care about that?
I think I think some guys it's in their mind, especially with all the injuries Vegas had in the season. I think, myself personally, I thought with all the injuries, if they could come into Thanksgiving around 500 or just above like they are, it's a win-win with all those guys out, and they can get rolling as the guys trickle back in, like Patch, Stoney back, guys are coming back, Marchie. So they're above 500, and now they can roll. Hopefully they can stay healthy and get on a good roll here.
Yeah, they had a 1-4 start, and then 10-4 the next 14. It's kind of gone back and forth here. I just pulled out my game notes from the last handful of games. So Vegas goes into the Blues game, and they're trying to go for their third straight win. They couldn't pull that one off, so they dropped to 11-8. So only 3 games over 500. But then they play in Nashville, and they get a big win. So they're back on the winning side of things. And you think, all right, maybe they'll get another streak started. But then you come back home, and you lose to the Edmonton Oilers, so now they're 12-9. So they're kind of in that buffer right now between 3 games over or 4 games over. Either way, that's significant at this stage of the year because they started 3 games under. So, they had to play this catch-up with these guys out. Now, the other thing that I have on my fancy charts here is the number of different players who've come in and the number of different players who've come out. So most notably, you mentioned it, Pacioretty comes back and Carrier comes back for that game in Nashville. Last game, which was against the Oilers, Marchessault comes back. Howden comes back. So that means 4 players in, 4 guys come out, and just the team's doing well. And I know that you want to put your regulars in there, but is it disruptive to a lineup, Deryk, when you've taken 4 guys out of the lineup who've been contributing to winning?
Yeah, I think, you go back and you look, for me, looking as an ex-player and a fan too, the first 5 games, maybe the work ethic wasn't quite there. They weren't that outworking the teams every night like they normally do. And since then, I think since all those injuries, all those guys coming up and trying to prove themselves, they kind of got that back a little bit. And now they're the same way that they used to be. They're outworking teams. They had a little lapse for 10 minutes against Edmonton, turning the puck over and stuff, but they still played a great game if you take that 10 minutes out. So, and they're the top of the division. So it points in a good direction. And, I think, like you said, Patch and who came back with Patch? Carrier came back, and then a couple games later, 2 more guys instead of getting all 4 guys in one game, and it might change a little more dynamics with that.
Yeah, and with those guys coming back, that means some guys go back to Henderson. So for the Silver Knights, what a boon. And they're on the road here for the next couple of weeks, so you don't get to see them in person, but you get to listen in to Brian McCormick doing the games. And so for Manny Viveros and the Silver Knights, they get back Paul Cotter. They get back Jake Leschyshyn. They get back Jonas Rondbjerg. Those guys stepped in, and in a relatively condensed period of time here, Deryk, they were not liabilities. These were not guys who were just plugged in because they needed to put somebody in. They were getting minutes as if they were regular 3rd or 4th line guys, and occasionally some of them played up even higher in the lineup. They were getting penalty kill minutes in Rondbjerg's case. What do you make of how those guys, and Leschyshyn perhaps was the most consistent performer in that group in terms of the minutes. What do you make of those guys and what they've done here?
Yeah, for all those guys to step in like they did and contribute, like you said, Jake Leschyshyn, I thought, I knew when I coached the 2 games in Henderson. And
that's right. Coach Deryk Engelland.
Yeah, 2-0, I'm retiring.
That's
after
right,
that.
yeah, no, 1,000 winning percentage.
Exactly. But he was a good player. He plays the right way, plays hard. He came up here, didn't change his game. He just played the right way, and you've seen him, like you said, out in games against top lines. They had no worries about having him out on the ice, and that says a lot. And, them going down, and I think they all scored in their games back this weekend, they get that little taste, and obviously you want that back. You want that first shot, and every player that starts in the minors wants that first shot to show the team what you got, and I think they all did that. They came in and put the team on notice that, hey, we got some good players coming up the pipeline, and for them to go down and, instead of have that little bit of lull, some guys do, they went down and they're contributing down there right away.
Pete DeBoer has talked about his staff, especially in the case of he and Steve Spott, who were not part of the organization until the middle of that 1920 season. They didn't know a lot of these guys. There weren't normal training camps, so the prospects were not really in the mix, didn't get to see them as players, didn't get to know them as people. And now with this normal training camp this year, plus an extended period in the NHL, how important are the relationships? Hockey, put to the side for a moment, getting to know these young guys, and also for those young guys to get to know the NHL coaches.
Yeah, it's huge, and the players too. You go on the road, and you at home it's a little different because you're going home to your families or going home to your place. But on the road, you're in the hotels, you're on the bus, you're on the plane, so you get to know them on a different level. And And it's huge because, anytime you're going to make a long run, which Vegas is expected to do every year and want to do, you're going to need all those players. So they can come up, they'll fit right in. They know all the guys. And another huge benefit is having them here right in Vegas. And, coaches can see them or around if they want, go to the Henderson Knights game and see who's playing or how they're playing. And I think it's a huge benefit.
You've spent a lot of nights on the road. Anybody in the sport, whether it's in junior or the minors or the NHL, you're on the road quite a bit. Not too often do you get the whole team together when you're on the road. Happens once in a while, but 20 guys on the road, or 23, whatever it turns out, on the road. What's it like? I mean, you get to spend time with some guys. Is it always the same group? You've been part of several teams. You've been part of this Golden Knights team, of course. What's that like, especially for those young guys or players new to the organization, to get comfortable in spending social time with everybody else?
It's huge. I remember my first year going up. Pascal Dupuis, as soon as we got to the city we're going to, sent out a mass text to everyone who's in. We're going here for dinner, whatnot. And, as a young guy, you don't have a choice. You're going.
Yeah.
and they really looked out for you, Sid and Gino and those. You're picking up the tab for these young guys or anything like that, just making them feel comfortable, having them get to know them on a different level. And it was huge. You come into this locker room with a bunch of stars and you don't know how to act, but then you're going to dinner with them and you can kind of get that little bit more of a personal level and more comfortable being around the rink every day.
How long did it take for you to get comfortable and kind of not be a younger guy, but be one of the guys who's sort of leading the way? Because I'm thinking about, Zach Whitecloud and Nick Hague, just, a blink ago, they were those young guys. But now all of a sudden, they're not the younger guys anymore. There's other younger guys that are younger than them. What was that like for you? When does that happen?
Well, I was a lot older when I made the NHL. I was
That's true.
27, 28, so I was already older than most of the young guys. Crosby and those guys. I was 5 years older or something like that. So it was a little different for me, but it's good to have good leaders in the locker room because then you see what they're doing, and the next year or the year after that, your first, second, third year, you can start doing that. Guys come up, hey, let's go for dinner. Take you out for dinner. We're going here. Come with us. Meet us here. So it's all you get those good leaders around you. You learn from them, and then you pass it on. And I remember Whitey and Hager, and you're going out for dinner with them, and I'm sure they're doing the exact same thing now with the younger guys coming up.
Yeah, sure are. And the leadership you talk about with you, of course, you were the guy, and Mark Stone among Pacioretty and Pietrangelo. I mean, there's no shortage of guys who are leaders on this group. And we're gonna see if we can find some real information here. Who would you most enjoy going out to dinner with the Golden Knights?
On the road, me and Holds always went. We went a lot because we ate earlier. We got our families back home, so you're usually eating at 5 or 6. So
the early bird special.
Yeah, we'd go out. Flower and Revo, but same thing. There's a crew that ate earlier, a crew that ate a little later. So you kind of try to mix it up and. But me and Holds went out a lot.
I bet. And you know all the spots, of course, when you've been around all the spots in all the different cities. And now the guys get to go to all these cities again, including Nashville and St. Louis. Coming up, it'll be Anaheim and Arizona. We're chatting with Deryk Engelland. I'm Dan D'Uva. We'll have Adam Brooks joining us here on Nighttime at noon. Adam is in a situation that's even more bizarre than those guys coming up from the minors. He was in the Toronto organization, won a Calder Cup in 2018, made his way up to the Leafs. And coming into this year, he'd played fewer than 20 NHL games. Then he gets claimed by Montreal. Plays 4 games with the Habs. Then he gets put on waivers by Montreal, by all the people who are, by the way, no longer running Montreal. And he ends up getting claimed by the Golden Knights. Second player that the Golden Knights have acquired in that way this year, Amadio from the Leafs, and now it's in this case, I was also going to mention Ben Hutton, but he was not waived. He just was unsigned. He'd been waived last year. So you have a number of these guys going through waivers. You see it every day. I mean, Matt Murray was on waivers for Ottawa and cleared. Evander Kane cleared waivers today, which is another story. But back to Adam Brooks. You're changing teams twice in one kind of short period of time. How do you ingratiate yourself to a new club? I guess game-winning goal in Nashville will do it, but like changing teams, like that's a lot to figure out.
Yeah, it's a lot. I was lucky enough. I didn't get traded or waivers or anything like that. But it's, as a young guy, you're either getting sent down to the minors or you're getting picked up by another NHL team and you get another shot. So at the end of the day, I don't think it matters where you end up. You're still in the NHL instead of the AHL, which is everyone's goal. So to come to a new team, a new opportunity, like you said, he scores a game-winning goal in Nashville, and um, he's got another opportunity to prove himself and hopefully stick around here for a while.
The Golden Knights lost a player, Patrick Brown, on waivers at the beginning of the season. And hey, Patrick made big impact in the brief period of time that he was with the Golden Knights at the NHL level. I'm sure the Knights would love to have held on to him. There's only so many spots, and salary cap is only at a certain point. So for the Knights to bring in a couple of guys, and Amadio did return to practice for the Golden Knights today. He had been out with COVID. And, of course, we've been talking about Adam Brooks, who's going to join us here in the studio in just a little while. It's in that weird spot where you're trying to bring a team together. You want the young guys to get an experience, but then you bring in guys with NHL games. Like Ben Hutton, he's not on the fringe of the NHL. I mean, he's played hundreds of NHL games. Have you get to see a little bit from Ben in settling in and figuring out the Golden Knights a little bit? I mean, he played for the Kings, played for the Ducks, played for the Canucks, and then, as we mentioned briefly, with Toronto. So do you get a sense of how Ben is fitting in with the team defensively?
Yeah, I think he's fitting in extremely well. It's for me as a more physical, fought a lot. To see him getting a couple scraps, to show the team that he's not going to back down from anyone. I think as a player with a new guy coming in and he does that, it's eye opening for the team. It's great for the team. You lose a guy like Revo and he steps up, throw a couple fights, and I think so far with his game. He's fitting in really well. I played against him a lot when he was in Vancouver. I was in Calgary, and he played some big minutes, had some points. He was a good player for him. So I think he's settling in nicely with the team, and he's just going to get better as he gets more comfortable.
He's also got the personality too. I mean, you go down the roster, like there's usually somebody on a team that's kind of the life of the room, who's always got a joke or is always smiling. He's got energy. A few Golden Knights come to mind. Like, is that a thing, Derek? Like, do you need, like, how important is that really?
It's huge. You goes up through the ups and downs in hockey, and you never want to be too high, too low. But when it's low, you need those guys to, you need Marchie. You need guys that are going to be loud and I don't want to say obnoxious, but that fun. No matter what, today's a new day. We're here to have fun. We're get better. Get back to the winning ways. When it's like that, and those guys help out huge. They make the room feel a little more lighter in the tough times, and when you're winning, it's they're even more loud. So it's even better. So
that's right. The Knights try to get back on the winning side of things when they take on the Ducks tomorrow, take on Arizona on Friday. That's one of those ESPN Plus games. Derek, you did a pretty good job explaining that whole ESPN Plus thing. So when we come back, I'm going to ask you to try and do that again, to recreate the explanation of what all that means. We'll have the broadcast on the radio, obviously, with Darren Elliott and yours truly coming up on both Wednesday in Anaheim, Friday in Arizona. That's nighttime at noon. Deryk Engelland here with Dan D'Uva. We'll be back in just a moment here on Fox Sports Las Vegas. Yeah. Here in Las Vegas, I'm Dan D'Uva with Deryk Engelland. It is nighttime at noon on this 29th of November. Glad you could join us. Vegas coming off the loss against the Edmonton Oilers. 3-2 is the final in that one. They're going on the road, take on the Ducks, take on the Coyotes, the next handful of games. We're here in the studio at City National Arena. It is really cool to have Deryk Engelland in studio, as Deryk has been roped into the broadcast side of the organization, wrapping up his terrific playing career, and doing some promotional videos too, Deryk. We saw a video recently where you were joined by a family member to try to tell the fans about watching the exclusive ESPN Plus games. What's the story there?
I just got asked to do it, so I just usually push the speaker on the remote and just say Golden Knights, and it comes up and click around. But the console and stuff is perfect for him to explain how you use it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That video is on all the Golden Knights social media channels. You can check it out. And again, Friday it's an ESPN Plus exclusive. So Dave and Shane will not be on the air. You won't be able to find them. It'll be on ESPN Plus. So if you go to the ESPN website and the app, you can download it there. But if you're not inclined to do so, we'll have the radio broadcast, as always, here on our flagship, Fox Sports Las Vegas, 98.9 FM, 1340 AM, and all along the Golden Knights radio network. But that broadcast Friday is an ESPN Plus exclusive in Arizona. Isn't it bizarre, Deryk? You got 8 games last year against Arizona. They've been in the Golden Knights division for the last 4 years. And now all of a sudden, they're not. They're in the Central, and the Knights are only going to play the Coyotes 3 times this year. They're just a few hours down the road.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's not really any other way, I guess, to make the divisions. But, yeah, it was you kind of thought it was going to be a bigger rivalry here.
Yeah, the desert. People talk about the desert, right?
Versus
Vegas
the desert. But, I think L.A. and San Jose, even now, Colorado in the Central too. Now they've played them, but L.A. and San Jose have definitely taken the reign from them.
And watch out for the Ducks. I mean, here are the Ducks, who the Knights are going to play on Wednesday. Ducks right now a point ahead of the Golden Knights. Lost to the Maple Leafs yesterday. Leafs have looked good. They've now won 8 consecutive road games, which is a franchise record, believe it or not. Ducks have had a good start. The question is, how long can they keep it up here, Deryk? Right now, they're 1 point better than the Knights, but they're going actually, they do have a game. They are playing in Los Angeles on Tuesday evening, and then they're going to play Vegas on Wednesday at home. What do you make of this Ducks club, and can they keep this up?
Yeah, I didn't see it coming going into the season at all, but they got the goaltending. He's one of the top goalies in the league, I think, for the last few years at least anyways. So, and then you throw in Getzlaf and the way he leads, and he's having a year himself. He's almost an assist every game, on pace for that. So you throw that and the young guys coming up, maybe developing a lot quicker than they expected, or I expected anyways. I didn't see that coming. So you never know. I was way off. I had the Central Division having 6 teams battling for playoff spots, and ours not so much, and I was completely wrong. So if I was a betting man this year, I'd be out a lot of money.
And the other weird part about it is the Edmonton Oilers and the Calgary Flames, plus the Vancouver Canucks, are in the Knights division in the Pacific. They always were. But it's so weird because, like, the Knights haven't played the Calgary Flames in 2 years, right? They're in the same division as the Golden Knights, but you think about all the other clubs, recency bias that the Knights have played, like your Colorados and Minnesotas, and even Dallas, given the playoff series. But the Calgary Flames are in the same division as the Golden Knights, and they're coming. They're coming to Vegas right after this road trip. They're part of this 4-game homestand coming up. Your old stomping grounds. Have you gotten a chance to watch any of the Calgary Flames? Because they've had an even more surprising start. I mean, right now, they're right there. They've gone back and forth with the Edmonton Oilers neck and neck atop the Pacific Division.
Yeah, it's almost the same as Anaheim. I thought, maybe they'd be battling for that final spot, and they've come out. Daryl Sutter's got them playing that big defense-first type style, and the guys are running with it. They're playing well. That top line's got all of them are having career seasons right now, and Markstrom, I think he's got, last time I looked, he had 7 wins and 5 shutouts. So
Yeah.
he's obviously
Leads
back
the
on
league.
top of his game. So when you get that, it's going to be a battle on that. I think it's the 5th they play.
Yeah, coming up as the Knights will play the first against Anaheim down in Orange County, Arizona on Friday. That's the 3rd, and then the 5th back here at T-Mobile Arena against the Calgary Flames. Deryk Engelland is here. Dan D'Uva is here. We're pulling an audible. We've had lots of football the last few days. Boy, was Patch Reddy pumped about the Michigan Wolverines. Boy, big one against Ohio State. We're pulling an audible. Harbaugh style, we're going to Brayden McNabb, who probably could play football. He's got the build for it. We're going to Brayden McNabb coming up. Had to make a switcheroo at the last moment. So we'll catch up with Adam Brooks another time. We did chat with Adam before the game in Nashville, and then he scored the game-winning goal. So good things happen, I suppose, when he does these interviews. We'll have to catch up with Adam another time, but we'll have Brayden McNabb, who you go from the guy who I believe is like the fewest career Golden Knights games played right now with Brooks. He's maybe edged out a few guys who played one game. McNabb is right near the top. I mean, you look at that list. It's Marchessault, it's Carlson, it's Smith, it's McNabb, it's Theodore. Those are the top in games played in Golden Knights history. Since we're talking numbers, a couple of milestones for you before we catch up with McNabb. It's going to be the 100th Golden Knights game for head coach Pete DeBoer on Wednesday. 100 games now with the Golden Knights. He has hardly had a real season. This will be his first real full season. Last year was abbreviated. The year before it was only half a season plus the bubble. It'll be his 100th game. Does that compute to you, Deryk?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I retired a year ago. Now it's Christmas time-ish last year, and it seems like yesterday that he was taking over. So it's crazy to see that he's already at 100 games here.
And Jonathan Marchessault is on track to hit 300 games with the Golden Knights on December 8th when the Knights host the Dallas Stars. Some upcoming milestones there. We're going to take a break. When we come back, defenseman Brayden McNabb will join us. This is Nighttime at Noon on Fox Sports Las Vegas. 12:32 Pacific Time. Welcome back. We're at City National Arena in Studio 31. Alongside Deryk Engelland, I'm Dan D'Uva. You just heard from number 3, Brayden McNabb, and Brayden is here in the studio. What's going on?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Great. That goal we heard just a moment ago was from the Knights' comeback victory a couple of Saturdays ago against the Vancouver Canucks. Down by a couple, came back and won the game 7-4. Boy, that was a big goal at the time.
Yeah, at the time it was, but it was kind of a weird game, as you said, and it was kind of back and forth, a little run and gun, but we ended up on top and put up a touchdown, so it was good.
Knights were down 2-0, came back, took the lead 3-2, then it was tied, then took a 4-3 lead, then it was 4-4, ended up 7-4. You know, the last few Saturdays, the Knights have fallen behind by a couple of goals, and Vancouver and then Columbus came back to win. Fell behind 2-0 against Edmonton the other day, and it turned into 3-0. You guys started the comeback. It came up a little bit short, Brayden. What did you make of the game against the Oilers on Saturday night at T-Mobile Arena?
Yeah, I mean, those aren't trends you want to get into, but, you know, we did a lot of good that game. We gave up just way too many odd man rushes. That was kind of how the game went, and they capitalized. They got some skill over there, and they did. So, you know, like I said, we did a lot of good, but just cleaning up, you know, the odd man rushes.
Yeah, anytime you can shut down McDavid and Draisaitl is a good night against that team. You know, power plays, 2 power plays, you guys shut that down too. So what do you guys make of that, shutting those 2 guys down?
Yeah, they're great players, really good players. We did a good job as, you know, the 5 guys on the ice and with our systems and whatnot, and our kill was unreal. So, yeah, they're elite players, obviously, and, you know, we did a good job, and that's one way how you're going to beat them. Unfortunately, you know, we didn't, but it's a good way going forward against them next time.
We're talking about that penalty kill. It has been one of the hallmarks of the Golden Knights. I'm sitting with 2 of the best in Golden Knights history right here in Deryk and Brayden. He killed the first 6 in Nashville. You don't want to obviously have 7 times shorthanded. It seems to have steadied a little bit here, Brayden. The penalty kill has been more and more consistent of late. Is there something you could put your finger on there, why that's been the case?
Yeah, we've been detailed a little with our sticks and positioning, I think, a bit more, and it's trending in the right direction. You know, and we're getting 200-foot clears when we have the puck on our stick, and that's huge when frustrates the power play. So, yeah, we like where it's at, and it's a big part of our game. So we got to keep it going.
You've also integrated some new players into this whole defensive scheme, and there's Ben Hutton, who you've played against, right? I mean, he was with the Canucks, with the Kings, with the Ducks, a little time with Toronto, and here he is earning a spot in the Golden Knights lineup. What do you make of getting Ben in there, somebody who's had a lot of NHL experience but new to the Golden Knights?
Yeah, he's a very good player. Yeah, he's been around, you know, quite some time now, and he's been awesome for us. He's stepped in, and you know, he's consistent. You know what you're getting from him, and you know, he's been physical. He has 2 fights already. He's doing whatever he can to help the team win. So he's been huge, and we need him to keep going.
Deryk and I were talking about this a few minutes ago. Like, there's some personality there too. How would you describe Ben Hutton's personality and how that affects the team?
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty quiet so far, but he's a great guy. You can tell he's been in the NHL locker room for a long time, and he's fun to be around. A little bit of a jokester, so it's fun, and we're lucky to have him.
Do you guys need name tags? Because, like, there's been all these young guys, and then you bring some new guys in. We're talking from other teams, Brooks. You're talking about Hutton, talking about Amadio, who's back from the COVID list here today. Like, it's crazy, right? How many guys have come and played for the Golden Knights this year? You've been around through it all. What's it been like for you to handle that many different guys coming through?
Yeah, it's been a weird year for sure, with injuries and, you know, with COVID. It's you got, you know, we had maybe 6 guys from the minor leagues at one point, or way off waivers as well, and you know, it's adversity, and you know, it's hard at the time, but it's honestly probably good for you in the long run, and it really dials in our systems. If we want to win, we got to be, you know, perfect on our systems, and you know, we've done a pretty good job of that, and now we're starting to get guys back, and we really need to dial in our game and, you know, start getting wins on the board.
I wonder if we think back to the first year, and I think it was Paul Maurice who talked about the Golden Knights and the absence of Marc-Andre Fleury for those 2 months, that it forced everybody to figure things out at an accelerated pace because you couldn't rely on Mark as you would have expected to do so. Is there something similar here where some elements of the team had to accelerate stuff to come together because there have been so many absences?
Yeah, for sure. Lots of guys have stepped up. Chandler, Marchie, Smitty, they've all really stepped up and helped with the goal scoring and whatnot. Even Wazzy, up and playing center there. But yeah, it definitely helps the group come together and figure out different ways to win hockey games, and we've done that so far. And now we're getting healthier, like I said, and it's really important for us to start getting points.
All right, so we were talking Thanksgiving before. Got a couple of Canadians here. You get 2 Thanksgivings. What's Thanksgiving like in the McNabb family?
Oh yeah, American Thanksgiving's a lot of fun here. I enjoy it. Canadian is, we still celebrate it here. Usually all the Canadians will get together, have a nice meal, so we get an excuse to have 2 nice meals, which is nice. And then obviously the American Thanksgiving is, great with the football and everything. So we celebrate both, and we really enjoy it.
2 for 1.
Yeah.
Brayden McNabb is our guest. I'm Dan D'Uva with Deryk Engelland. It's nighttime at noon, talking Golden Knights hockey here right up till 1 o'clock. We talked also about how teams historically in a playoff spot come American Thanksgiving. Usually it's a good sign. What do you make of this time of the year? I think back to the first season, the importance, there was that Father's trip, Nashville and Dallas, the great run at home in December, and how that can really be a springboard for how the division standings shake out. What do you make about how that affects this year's Golden Knights and what seems to be an improved Pacific Division?
Yeah, like you said, the division is, improved. There's a lot of younger teams that are playing well right now, and the division games are very important for us. They're 4-point games, and winning those games are crucial for us to move up the ladder and in the standings. So going forward, it's just as we're getting healthier and just putting points on the board, and being, especially with time off right now, 3 days off before games, we're going to be rested, and it's important to start getting wins.
Does Deryk have any more questions for Brayden? Because I feel like I'm hogging the microphone.
Yeah, you've taken you took all my questions away.
Yeah,
from
I'm
me.
sorry.
I
It's
know.
it's
tough. This is a hard thing. I was all dialed in with for Brooks, and this is a whole loop that I'm not used to. So
spoiled the party.
Yeah, not like you two don't know each other at all. We were talking about the improved Pacific Division, and here's Edmonton. You guys have now seen twice. They've gone back and forth with Calgary atop the division. You haven't seen Calgary in a couple of years. You will see them on Sunday. And then here come the Ducks. You'll see the Ducks again on Wednesday. Like, how has this happened, Brayden? Like, I don't know too many people who had the Ducks pegged to be a division contender. Can they keep this up? How have they done it, perhaps, as you guys look at the scouting report? How have they done this?
Well, it starts with their goalie, I think. He's an elite goalie. And then, they have young guys stepping up, and that's very important in today's NHL. If you can get your young guys stepping up and producing for you like they have, it's important. They're in sync right now, and they're playing well as a team. So, and they got that confidence. So, they're a hard team to play against, and it's going to be important for us to have our best for 2 days from now.
So you didn't play Sunday, aren't playing today. You're traveling tomorrow, and then the game's on Wednesday. Now, it hasn't happened too often. You guys have had 3 days in between games. Are there pros and cons to that?
Yeah, you like those days. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice having that time off. I'm sure we'll pay for it down in when March comes, but when they come your way, you try and enjoy them and take care of yourself, and spend time with family and friends.
What does the holiday season mean to an NHL player, especially in your case, Brayden? This is it's busy. Like, there's a lot of games, but then we just talked about Thanksgiving. You got Christmas coming up and people traveling, and there's the potential of the Olympic break, could be a few weeks off. What's this time of year like for you and for an NHL player?
It's fun. Anytime around Thanksgiving and Christmas is, I think, fun for everyone. Lights go up. It's kind of an exciting time of year, and as far as hockey, it's a good time of year too. Everyone still has a lot of energy, and you're not really in the dog days yet, so it's fun. And when you get those 3 days off for Christmas, it's great to enjoy if you have family in town or you're going home or whatever it is. It's really nice to see family.
Us broadcasters like numbers, sometimes too much. You've played 290 games for the Golden Knights. Only 2 guys have more, Marchessault and Carlson. Like, you're closing in on 300 Golden Knights games here. Like that's a lot of games, but that's significant in the history of this franchise. I'm sure you're not counting the games on a night-to-night basis, but when I throw out a number like that, what does it mean to you in this stage of your career?
Fortunate to be here. When we first got here, you didn't really know what to expect. But being able to be here for 5 years now, I've been really blessed. Everyone who comes here loves playing here, and obviously I do, and we love living here, and just feel very lucky to be here.
Brayden McNabb is our guest with Deryk Engelland. I'm Dan D'Uva, wrapping things up here with Deryk and Brayden. Please jump in, Deryk, if you have a question for Brayden, because I could keep talking all day until the producer says it's time for a commercial break. I do want to ask your thought on some of the players who've stepped up here. Rather than put names in your mouth, in your eyes, who do you think has stood out in his play recently?
Yeah, it's kind of mentioned it before. I think Riley Chandler is having a great year. He's a guy with a lot of skill, and it's kind of showing right now where he's producing a lot. And Marchie was on a great pace there, but then got COVID. But he's a big part of our team. Wazzy stepping up in that center spot. You can kind of see his game evolving for sure. And everyone, all the young guys, it's a tough league, and to step in and play right away, it can be tough, but they've done a good job.
Upcoming games, mention the Ducks, mention the Coyotes and the Flames here. The opponent, the Anaheim Ducks. What will be most critical for you guys going into that game against Anaheim?
Getting off to a good start, for sure. We're on the road, and we want to have a good start and go from there. That's maybe been kind of our worst part of our game is our first period getting down. But if we can get that lead and sit on that lead and keep pushing forward.
Last thing, because Deryk and I were talking about this before. You're on the road, haven't been able to go on the road and go out, and you're going out to dinner. You can't always get the whole team together. So who's Brayden McNabb going out to dinner with, and you have any favorite places that you like to go on the road?
That's a good question. I sprinkle it around kind of. I go with dinner with a lot of guys. I don't know if there's just one or two guys. It always kind of changes. And as far as where I would like to go to eat, I mean, there's so many good restaurants. It's you can't really name it. We're spoiled out here because it's endless restaurants, So when we go on the road, we're kind of used to everything. So I don't think I can name one restaurant that sticks out to me.
No, we'd be here all day.
Yeah.
We'd be here all day. Well, Brayden, thank you very much for coming by. Appreciate your thoughts on the Golden Knights, and looking forward to the game in Anaheim in a couple of days.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
That's Brayden McNabb, our guest, Golden Knights defenseman number 3. Just heard him score that goal against the Vancouver Canucks a couple of Saturdays ago, and a wild game that was. We'll see what's next for the Knights. And Brayden is one of those guys who's appeared in every game for Vegas this year. Up to 6 points on the season, a couple of goals. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the division, what's going on around hockey, and wrap things up as Vegas gets ready for the Ducks and the Coyotes. You're listening to Nighttime at Noon on Fox Sports Las Vegas. The spectacular Hotel Californian in Santa Barbara, California is the newest exciting addition to the Foley Entertainment Group. Experience an extraordinary stay at one of 121 luxury guest rooms and suites. Taste the region's finest wine at Foley Food and Wine Society Tasting Room. And treat yourself to unparalleled massage at Majorelle, the Moroccan-inspired spa. I'd stop right there. I'd go to the spa. All in the heart of the American Riviera, Santa Barbara. Designed for domestic and international guests alike, the Hotel Californian is the perfect destination for any travelers seeking a one-of-a-kind luxury experience. Hotel Californian is Santa Barbara's premier urban destination. Visit hotelcalifornian.com to book your stay today. That sounds fantastic. With Deryk Engelland, I'm Dan D'Uva, now thinking more about spas than hockey, but we've got a few minutes left on the program here on Nighttime at Noon. Glad you could join us today as the Knights get ready for a couple of games on the road. The Ducks and the Coyotes Wednesday and Friday, then back home for a 4-game homestand. Well, Deryk, you know, like we kind of talk about it throughout the program. I just get a kick out of hearing, you know, that this time of year it's busy for everybody, the holiday shopping, holidays around the corner. Happy Hanukkah, everybody. And Christmas is coming. Like, is it even more crazy for an NHL player because you don't get like the time off that maybe some people would take for the holidays? And listen, I know a lot of people don't have time off for the holidays. In fact, they have to work on the holidays. But it seems even crazier when the Knights are going to spend like 10 days on the road. They're going to Boston, New Jersey, New York, then Long Island. Like that could be tricky.
Yeah, it's always tough road trips right there. Like,
yeah.
But you know, it brings the team in closer. Like I said, you're going out with guys to dinners and on the plane and stuff. And like Brayden said earlier, that you know, it's not the lull of the season. You're not going there mid-January to end of February when it's that. It's kind of, as a player, it's the grind days of the season, and you know, it's always fun going to New York too, and Boston and all those places. They're great cities to play in. So you kind of get excited for those, especially around the holidays in New York. You know, if you have a day off or something, you got to go see the tree in Rockefeller Center and all that stuff. You can get some Christmas shopping done. There's some great shopping there. So it's, I always liked going to New York around that time.
Same here. And I remember a couple of years ago, Chandler Stevenson was acquired by the Golden Knights when the team was in the midst of that trip. And I chatted with him at Nassau Coliseum for the first time. And he, you know, had been with the Capitals, of course, had been part of the Stanley Cup championship team there. And he didn't stick. You know, the Knights acquired him, and what a terrific addition he's been. And I wanted to give you some numbers. And I wonder, I'll give you the numbers, and Deryk, you can give us the player's perspective on this and what you see in what he's done. So last year, 14 goals in 51 games. 14 goals was a career high, right? Despite only playing 51 games instead of 82. This year, he's got 8 goals in 21 games. So only 6 away, but he's still got another 50-some games to go. That, even if you break down the minutes, goals per 60, right, that factors in the ice time and things like that, he is still on a pace for more goals this year than last year. He's on a pace for 33 goals, which would more than double what he did last year. So those are some of the numbers. As we say, broadcasters like that kind of stuff. What does the hockey player see in how Chandler is doing this?
Yeah, for me, you played with him, you played against him in the finals and in Washington there, and he's got so much skill, so much speed. He's fun to watch. It's as a opposing player, it's like you know, almost like the outdoor game when Petro said, "Oh no," when McKinnon turned her on, you know, type thing.
That's right.
Same thing with him. It's he doesn't look like he's going fast, and then he's gone. It's crazy. But what sticks out most to me with those numbers, you know, he has the skill and the speed and stuff, is how many games he was with. You know, everyone put him with Stone and Pacioretty, that he's, you know, but he did it without those guys, and that shows the skill and how good of a player he is. He did it without those guys, and you know, you throw Stone in there and passing him the puck during the time that he missed, you know, he probably has a few more goals. Or you know, you throw Pacioretty in there, he probably has a few more assists with Patch's shooting. So if they were healthy the whole time, it would be crazy to see his numbers. They'd be even better, I think.
Last year, Chandler scored his 8th goal, which is the number he has right now, 8. He scored his 8th goal in his 34th game. Took him 34 games to score 8 goals. He's got 8 in 21 games, right? So a lot of ways to look at it numerically and breaking it down, what Chandler has done. Watch out, though. Marchessault still has one more for the team lead, and Jonathan's back after missing 6. We'll see if Marchessault can get on the roll of things again. But Stevenson has a 3-game goal-scoring streak, which is the first time in his career he's scored a goal in 3 straight. 2 other guys have done it for the Knights this year. Any guesses at who it might be? Not a trick question.
I would have to say Marchie would be one of them.
Marchessault is one of them.
And then, maybe Smith?
And Riley Smith. Yeah, see,
hey,
Deryk knows.
I didn't even know that either. So
yeah, there you go. So Riley had done it, and it, Riley's had some big moments, of course. He did it against Detroit, Columbus, and St. Louis, so the 18th through the 22nd. Marchessault had 4 goals in 3 games, November 4th, 6th, and 7th against Ottawa, Montreal, and Detroit. Something about going back to Quebec, I suppose, gets Marchessault fired up.
Going home, you know. Great city to go to, too.
Oh,
great
gosh.
city.
Oh, it was great to get back there. When the Golden Knights were in Montreal for the postseason, it was frustrating because we were there, but we weren't allowed to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But maybe the Knights will take on Montreal again. Although they're in 7th place and they just fired their whole front office. What do you make of that?
I think, as a team that makes the finals last year and they're off to a tough start this year, you got to make changes. You got to get your team going again somehow. And, sometimes it's players, sometimes coaches, or higher up. So, it's you never want to see it, but it happens. It's part of the job.
It sure does. From Stanley Cup finalist to out of a job for Mark Bergevin and company. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up here on the program. Deryk, lots of fun. Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
This has been Nighttime at Noon. We invite you to tune in on Wednesday as the Knights take on the Ducks in Anaheim. Can Vegas get another divisional victory, even the series with Anaheim? Big thanks to the whole crew behind the scenes, Dakota and Floyd and Jared, for all of us, the Vegas Golden Knights. Dan D'Uva saying so long from our studios at City National Arena. And have a great day, everybody. This has been Nighttime at Noon on Fox Sports Las Vegas.